You're listening to WCAT Radio, your home for authentic Catholic programming.
Hello, dear listeners of WCAT Radio, the Voice of Africa. Welcome to our show today. And today we are going to talk a little bit something different from what our culture has been taking us through. We have been always discussing about the history, politics, economics, and related matters of different countries here in Africa. But today we are taking a little bit break and discussing something of a general interest, but something which is very important in our lives. I think you can guess what is the ultimate goal of everything you're doing in life, and what makes you feel so great, so cool, and so successful, or when you feel like you have succeeded on something, if you feel like you have made up through some difficult moments, let's say you have passed an exam, or you have done better on a certain work, and you have received an award, how do you feel during that moment? But at the same moment, when you have performed something on a very poor level, or you have underperformed, or something has just been an outcome of what you did not expect, how do you feel? And at the end of the day, we come to a conclusion as a human person, in whatever thing we are doing, what is the ultimate goal of everything we are doing here on earth? You can have that answer, I can have that question, but on the other way around, you can also have your own answers. But I think there's something or some aspects which are very common to everybody as a human person, whether we are doing something good or we are doing something which is not right, something which is even illegal or whatever. But the ultimate of every mission or the performance of anything is to attain a certain thing. What is that thing? This is our discussion today, and this is nothing else than what we do on our daily basis in our lives and everything. We only struggle to open our happiness. We want to realize ourselves, and how can we be the most happy people here on earth? So the question is, how do we acquire happiness, and how do we reach to the happy moment? And what we see maybe our friends looks like, or when they're laughing before us or something, are they really happy? What can be the sources of happiness? How do we give happy moments to others? Do we consider that whatever we are doing to people, it might distract their happiness, and we do something to make sure we stop it? Is your conscience really connected to the happiness of others or something? This is our discussion today. Welcome. This is WCAT Voice of Africa, and I am Kahama Emmanuel Peter. Today we are going to open happiness. But maybe before we go and discuss about the main topic we are going to discuss today, I would love us to have a briefing of what has been happening in our country here in Tanzania for the past 1 or 2 weeks after the general elections, which was done on 28th of October this year. And we have now the new president. The same president has sworn in on 5th of November this year, and is becoming the 50th president to have the second term in power. And this is nobody else but His Excellency Dr. John Joseph Pombe Magufuli, who has been performing extraordinarily, and he has been doing a lot, so to say, especially on the issues of infrastructures and education, the issues of government systems, when it comes to the question of securing public funds. He has kept into practice. There are systems which protect our fund, and people are happy about it. And we are hoping in the coming 5 years, we can't say anything, but we're hoping for the best. We say it's all about our country, it's all about our interest as the public to see a better future for this country, not only for the generation today, but for many generations to come. So we are praying for the new government to set up better and good plans, laws, policies, and in fact, protecting our culture and the identity as people of this land, not only within the country but even outside. So we are hoping the president will keep on protecting our country and the interest of the general public. But also on the other hand, we see what has been happening in America. Also, the election is almost coming to an end, and Joe Biden has been, by so many media, announced as the president, though Donald Trump as the president of the United States of America, he has not yet accepted it. And he's saying there are some places and some states where ballot papers seems to be duplicated and stuff. So for them, they have a very good system where ballot paper can be recounted, ballot papers can be rechecked. So it's yet to confirm whether Biden will take over or the case will still be on court. And we saw in Kenya it happened, and the election was pulled off and everything was reversed. So we cannot say direct that though Biden has been proven to have more ballot papers, but the question comes in still, are they legal, accepted? And whether the claims of Donald Trump also have that legality and truth, because we say we respect transparency and the rule of law, so justice will be served and we'll be sure of whatever has been voted for by the people in America and different from the different states. And so we are wishing all the best for these processes to Americans. As one of the greatest nations on earth, which is also has or having a lot of influences on different political, social, economic, and cultural matters here on earth. So we are praying that they also do their things in a very, very positive and a good way. So all the best to our new president, and we are hoping a lot and great from him, and all those will be entrusted with different responsibilities, especially ministerial positions and the related positions in the government of the United Republic of Tanzania. As we saw also in Zanzibar, the president of Zanzibar, Dr. Hussein Mwinyi, has also started moving on better. We are also wishing all the best to the Tanzanian island government in relation to all the aspects of good conduct and the economic development of the people and the country. So here we are, and as I said earlier, we are going to discuss and talk about happiness in life. Being happy, and what's the meaning? How do we become happy? I'll give you an example. I'll read to you a certain message which may make you think and meditate that if you're happy today, what's making you happy? And if someone is not happy, what does it mean? Maybe someone is sick, someone is having a problem, then this person is not happy. So what does happiness entails in our lives? One of the persons one day said that we live in a happy, obsessed society, constantly bombarded with happiness, smiling faces on TV or billboards, ads and telling us the version of happiness. Even worse than this, we see our own friends on social media posting photos of their ridiculous happy lives, but never sharing any raw feelings of what's really going on in their lives. And we go out and say, oh, this person seems very happy these days. What an exotic holiday. Then all we find and say, oh, this guy looks like He's very happy. Maybe he has got another good job. He looks so smart. But then we remember that it is an unspoken law that we all want to be happy. But the reality is that most of us have not thought enough about what happiness means for our lives. Personally, I used to think, if only I had the right kind of job, the right group of friends, and the right partner, then I'll be happy. So this pushed me to work so hard, chasing these goals. I saw happiness like reaching the peak of mountains. And I would be like, if I reach at this certain level of success or achievement, then trust me, I would be happy. And then a question, what is your passions toward attaining a happy life? Is it getting another baby? Is it getting another job? Is it solving your problem with your boss? Is it dealing with something which is bothering you in the office? Is it standing and waiting for you to be promoted to the best worker in the office, or to be the best person in the society or something? How do you see the top of the mountain as the means of you to become happy? Personally, all that I had to do was work really hard, achieve all my goals, and then I would be happy. I think it might be the same thing you might also be thinking or hoping for. And that's exactly what I have been doing. I have been always working really hard to get the top of the mountain. But at the top, I think I have not reached, but still, I do not think if I am really going to find what I was looking for. And this is where a question came in my mind. Where is happiness if it's not on the top of the mountain? Have I left it behind as I am trying to climb up the mountain? Have I forgotten something in the middle of the peak between up and down, or something has happened? One of my friends told me something like, I am not happy simply because I do not have a husband. And another one told me, I am struggling simply because I had a very beautiful girlfriend, but she has cheated on me and she's just left me. Then I was like, okay, I can see there are two different situations here. They are talking of the same story in a different way, but they have distracted their common point of lives of these people, which is happiness. But then another person was crying so much disappointed because she was demoted from the office, and she was like, how am I going to pay my bills? How am I going to really have a future? But the last person, if I still remember, who told me like, I feel like I don't want to go to the church anymore and pray because I'm not happy with the pastor. I'm not happy with the priest because he has distracted me so much. So when I reach there, I feel like I just don't want even to see this person. I'm very sad and I'm so much disappointed because this pastor has really disgusted me. So you see, we are all people and we are all getting or losing happiness simply because of things. And then when this is happening, our lives becomes a lot of uncountable questions, full of stresses, full of issues which you cannot even resolve them, even if you are given the whole year or even 100 years on earth. Complications and all that. Trust me, one of my friend who who was married. This person was living a very successful life with the wife, and they were all having a very successful life, so to say, because they had nice jobs and they were all getting a lot of money out of their job, out of their works. But then it was like for him, having a wife was the last thing she wanted, because she had already gone to school, she had education, she had a family which was loving him so much. I mean, he has a family which was loving him so much, and at the same time, he had work. So the only thing he had remained looking for was a wife, and to make his life just as happy as something else. When he married, what he actually found at the top of his mountain was the disappointments of marriage. This disappointment in marriage was something to really be worked harder upon, so that one could conquer and realize the goal of what this person wanted. So when he married, that was just an achievement. But succeeding into marriage is what makes someone happy. But there are issues which are accompanying everything we are struggling for, as we expect it's going to give us happiness. What I remember, what he told me, it was like, Peter, with all these struggles I had on reaching this level, I actually found at the top of everything I was doing is just disappointment. I had worked so hard to conquer my goal, and the realization that I still wasn't happy made me even more unhappy. But little did I know it, I had no idea what happiness was. Do you get that question? Do you find yourself into these questions? Like, you have done everything in the office. You expected to be very happy, be supported by the office, and be cheered up. And in the end, the boss turns against you and says, what you have done is just something good. But then we think someone else could do better than you. You can get it. You can pick it up how you can feel. And this may distract you even from doing better. You have a wife whom you expected was going to make you happy, but then she disappoints you with some human things. She's a human person having weaknesses. Then does that distract you from being happy? Because she was the source of happiness in your life. She's now the source of disappointment. How do we handle this? Here the question comes on, what on earth is happiness? There are probably as many definitions of happiness as there are humans on the planet. But broadly speaking, modern psychology categorizes happiness in two parts. Happiness as an emotion is one part, and happiness as a life satisfaction as another category of life happiness. So to say, the happiness as an emotion is an experience, or someone experiencing positive emotions like joy, pleasure, and excitement. We are all familiar with these types of happiness: good food, great sex, new clothes, walks on the beaches, hot oil massage, and related lots of issues in the families. There are moments when maybe you have done an exam and you have a feeling like, I have done it better, I have answered it very well. You see, so you feel like, this is what I wanted to do, just it's really catching up with me. So, and this is really, really what's constantly being shared in the social media. We see on Instagram, people have taken and posted pictures of themselves on different environment, on different gestures, different clothes, different styles. It's something which It's just out of pressure and excitement, just emotions. It has not touched the raw part of the life. So it's what being advertised everywhere. And this is what most of us we think, or when we see, like this is happiness, because people are smiling on these pictures on Instagram and the rest. But then on the other side, or on the other hand, we see happiness as a life satisfaction, which is now living with a sense of satisfaction and fulfillment with the life. And these are the important things which are included here. We see that we are all less familiar with this type of happiness, as it's not as straightforward as getting a massage or a hugging thing or a warm things of that nature, but rather it involves a deliberate process of self-discovery, cultivating the right mental attitudes to live a happy and a very meaningful life despite the ups and downs of everyday emotions. And now here we come and realize in life there are two things which disturbs the balance in our lives. Is the issue of emotions and satisfaction. Why do people cheat? Why do people love? Why do people stand on some grounds? And why do people move on some directions and refrain from the other directions? It's either because of emotions or satisfaction. I think you have seen people in different occasions, when they're very happy, they promise a lot of things, like I'm going to give you a car, I'm not going to give you this. Like maybe some people, they preaches on wedding ceremonies or pre-wedding ceremonies, like I'm going to offer 1 million, or I'm going to buy you a car on your wedding, or I'm going to give you this and that. It's emotions. Maybe they are drunk or something. So it's that excitement pushes them, without having the right mental attitude to deliberately understand or process what they're trying to say. It's when you see someone, I'll love you and I give you everything in life. Whatever I have is yours and all that. And it's the same. What's happening with excitement or pressure or something when it comes to life and marriages. People goes to church, and people these days, they're so much excited with the ceremonies or how big the wedding was, than deliberately processing or doing the self-discovery, the cultivation on using the right mental attitudes on understanding what marriage entails to be. It's only about the wedding. It's all about the good dress, the posh cars we'll be using that day, the day we are going for honeymoon. I don't know, the best suit which has been sent from UK and the related things. These are the things here we have to weigh, and we realize we're supposed to stand on some directions so that we can be happy and avoid ourselves being taken with emotions. So now we say happiness as an emotion. We say happiness as an emotions, or as an emotion, has two sides: positive emotions and negative emotions. And that's why we said, don't promise something when you are too happy or too sad. You might be impaired and decide on a contrary way and not on the right direction. So happiness as an emotion and chasing it on the positive side, it may imply a lot. But think of this: if there was a machine you could plug yourself into, and that made you feel pressure and joy to 100% of the time, better yet, you wouldn't know you are plugged in there, so you would have no feelings of guilt. You would plug in or stay in your current life or status. We all understand the response to the above issue or question can reveal a lot about how each one of us feels about happiness as an emotion. There are people like now, they are so much disturbed with the issues, and these things, they are taking them from the reality of the moments they are living, and they feel like their life has no meaning, their life has no sense of any positive value here on earth, and they feel like something could be kept in their heads and like load out everything they feel about the negative moments, all the negative attitudes, all the feelings and soul-related matters. That's what's called human and humanity when we go through different and difficult moments of pursuing our happiness pursuits. Maybe there's one thing we need to remember. Every one of us has a certain target of happiness realization, and this is a process. It's better you enjoy the process of attaining happiness than just being relaxed or satisfied with just reaching at the peak, because reaching at the peak is another thing and standing at the peak is another thing. And that's why we can understand there is happiness and pain, because we have already reached at the peak. On whatever direction you were thinking that happiness or the peak of your mountain was, or is, or you're still pursuing to the same direction, if someone is asking you today, or would ask you the same question just shortly after you finished climbing the mountain, what would be the response? You would say, I have really reached where I wanted. Just shortly after, you would be very happy. It's because you saw happiness only as an emotion that you had felt on a regular basis. But if you were not experiencing emotional happiness in the form of pleasure and joy regularly, then the conclusion probably would be you are not happy and there must be something wrong. That's why we keep on chasing goal after goal, mountain after mountain, pursuing the feelings of new job, new traveling, new destinations, and all those things which can make us feel better. But the good feelings didn't last forever or for that longer. Before long, the emotions of joy and excitement would always disappear, and you would be back, or you would be reversed to the point where you are. And we all know when your car is moving forward at whatever speed, moves very fast, and it's easy to control the direction when you're moving forward. But if something is going backward, no matter at what speed, they can easily lose the direction. So it's very important to understand that when we are moving forward and we have reached at a certain point, it's very important to remember to have a backup process in life. So instead, we should stop thinking like, if I have maybe a new job, I would be happy. Because once you get it, something will happen in your relationship. You say, if I get new relationship, I'll be happy. You get it. And then something turns again as a challenge in your business, and say, I think I have to chase this shopkeeper of mine because this person is stealing me. You get another one. Then tomorrow you say, okay, I'm buying another new car. Then that new car, the same, in a few days, it will start having some electronic issues, and you say, oh, Jesus Christ, these Japanese cars have problems. So you realize happiness is a process, and it's a common path to everybody, not only me, not only you. Everybody of us has a kind of seeking to reach the peak of a new mountain. It's not a sin, it's not something bad, but it's something we have to understand it and learn how to go about it. So if you check this, you realize it's a process which make we human people or human beings to quickly return to a relatively stable level of happiness despite major positive or negative events of our life changes. You get a good job today, after some time you feel like you need another thing in life, so you keep on shifting after you have attained things. And this is called hedonic adaptation, which is like it makes you as a human person have a tendency of quickly returning to a relative stable level of happiness, and it's a kind of an approach which is really reading in many minds of the people. So it looks like no matter how good something makes us feel, most of the time we drift back to where we started, emotionally speaking. And often, you see, it's very funny and tricky, like it is said psychologically, a person who maybe have won today or have become the best person in something today is less happier than some previous month earlier than he won. So it's a question, why do people tend to have this? It's so much controlled with emotions or emotion part of our lives. So this tendency to return to a baseline has been shown to occur after marriage, voluntary job changes, and promotions. So the kind of things we usually expect to change or to change our happiness and well-being for the better in permanent way are ever different. And this is even according to Dr. Grant Halvorson, who studied this out. But then this is just not something we shouldn't enjoy or feel good about it, or we should not be happy. We need to be happy. We need to have pleasure and excitement in our life. We absolutely need to celebrate and get the new jobs, cherish the new moments, new friends, new relationships, and the things of that kind. But then we should be conscious that experiencing these short-term emotional high does not equate to long-term happiness, and that's where we come and find a question like how should we stand against the negative emotions. By the way, as we say that it's another unfortunate where consequences of seeing happiness only as a positive emotional state is that we ignore or suppress any other emotions that do not make us feel good. You see, maybe you have lost your beloved one, maybe you have lost the job, maybe the boss is not nice to you, the car is not working better with you, maybe you have not got the cash you wanted to get in the bank, and things of that kind. And we all want to feel joy and avoid pain. This is normal, it's being human. But what's not normal and is rather unhealthy is persistently avoiding or suppressing difficult or negative emotions. Because the reality is life has these moments of ups and downs, as we saw earlier. The mountain you must climb, get down, climb new mountain is a process. So we have some people, and I've been asking people, telling people several times, you find someone is crying and you ask this person, why are you crying? A person says, nothing. Or someone asks you, are you okay? Someone says, yes, I am fine, I'm well. And this is so many to women especially. I think ladies, they so much respond to this question when they have problems. You ask them, how are you? I'm fine, I'm good. And they quickly respond to this, but it doesn't seem to be really okay. The reality of life is that we all experience difficult emotions and circumstances. People get sick, we lose our jobs, relationships fall apart, and things break. We understand. Shit do happen. But more elegantly is that whatever can go wrong will go wrong. We cannot undo what is done. We can't change the past. It's according to Murphy's Law, who said that the more we try to avoid the basic reality that all human life involves pain, the more we are likely to struggle with the pain when it arises, thereby creating even more sufferings, as Ruth Harris stated that. So similarly, Buddhism, it's believed that life is full of sufferings, and that our sufferings is caused by our attachments. We all understand this. Are we attached to things which we think they're going to give us happiness? Are we attached to jobs? Are we attached to certain kind of lifestyles and related? So ideals we hold, or things we hold on in our minds about how life ought to be, is what we call an attachment. And one of the biggest attachments we have is the desire to feel happy all the time. This is an health desire to feel happy all the times, and ironically leads to sufferings and unhappiness in the face of inevitable advertise, as always the Murphy Law also stated, as we said earlier. It's important to remember that we feel unhappy because we feel we shouldn't be happy. You can imagine about this. So, to be safe, we need to set a kind of a directional board and a place to store or keep things which we understand that this is wanted and this is not wanted in my life, and this is going to give us strength to decide on what to keep and what not to keep. Because it is said that instead, or rather than judging or suppressing difficult or negative emotions that helped me or helped you immensely, it's better that you accept and let go of what expectations you had. It's important that we all understand that we need to feel happy all the time, but it cannot work out like that. It's not good turning into a blind-eyed person and say, no, this cannot happen in my life. This is not me. It's not possible. Everything is possible. Anything can happen to any one of us. It's the matter of time. But whatever is happening cannot also last for the rest of the life. Sometimes in life, we need to be ready to open the containers, the bottles which we know they are containing such ugliest, such worst smells coming out of the same. But as long as they're in our hands and we're supposed to open them, let us open them. And that's the life. But opening them and accepting them is not an issue. The issue is, how do we accept these negative issues and more at peace? Because we could all be successful, but how do we stand during difficult moments? How do we endure during pain? How do you maintain happiness, even if it's a little bit, just the little peace you can have in heart? How do you maintain it during difficult moments? Because it would be easier for everybody to become a very successful person if things would be moving in a very smooth way, all on just a straight line upward. But life, as the way the sigmoid chart indicates, it's never static. It keeps on moving up and down. It keeps on swinging. I remember my dad told me, if you always learn to become a man, you need to learn how to endure good moments and tough moments. But the most is you to stand and be happy during difficult moments. That is very important. It's not an easy thing. It's confusing and it's almost impossible. But that is the reality. You need to make sure you stand a happy person even during difficult moments, so that you can protect your life and your future. As in, no one or none of us want to be or want to experience sadness. It is a fact of life that we will, in one day or in one occasion or the other, we will experience. It is said accepting sadness or difficult emotions is not the same as wallowing and indulging in them. Rather, it's learning to recognize that it's healthy to experience the full range of emotions as a human being, and that these emotions do not have power over us. That's the most important things. Emotions comes in and gets out, but they do not have power over us. We can observe emotions, but we are not our emotions. Emotions are just emotions, comes in and can get out, but those are not ours. I am not an emotion, but an emotion can be part of me. How do I control it? And how do I go through it? So, in due time, every emotion will come and go, as every pain has come and go, as we ourselves, as human persons, we have just come, as many people have already gone, we shall also go. No state of mind is permanent, as no pain is permanent. And it's very, very, very serious. So clinging on to a positive or negative emotions is a fool's game. We can't be fooled with emotions. We need to separate ourselves. And as we said earlier, it's very, very important. Instead of just being happy with some kinds of emotions, we need to make sure we really involve a deliberate process of self-discovery and cultivating the right mental attitude to live a happy life despite the ups and downs of everyday emotions in our lives. And that marks the end of our discussion as the matter of happiness as an emotion is concerned. And we want to check again happiness as a life satisfaction. We see happiness as an emotion is an easy and enough something to grasp or to acquire. And we are taught from the kindergarten that if you're happy and you know it, clap your hands. I think most of us, we know this song, and I don't know how to sing, but I don't know. I would ask maybe some of my friends to sing this song, but I think you can try to get that good tone and sing. If you're happy and you know it, clap your. I think if I'm trying to remember the tone which I was taught when I was in school, I think I was in kindergarten or something. We were told by this madam. I think now she's dead already. May her soul be granted eternal rest. She taught us singing like this: if you're happy and you know it, clap your hand. If you're happy and you know it, clap your hand. So it's something which is like funny. You just sing, you just crap, and you feel it as something. And there, you may sing, you may crap, you may do whatever, even if you're not happy inside. But it's a matter of you doing it outside and everybody sees it. Then, what is more difficult to understand and express is if you are satisfied, content, and grateful for your life, and you know it, clap your hands. Can you do that? Trust me today, if you look at yourself, if you look at your job, your marriage, your family, your desires, dreams, and everything, can you say, or if I ask you today, are you satisfied, content, and grateful for your life? And do you know it? Can you clap for it? How many people are going to do that with deep senses of life and not just that outside emotions and blah blah and whatever? How many can do that? I think it's still a question. So it's difficult because life satisfaction is determined almost entirely by the contents of our minds, with no visible indicators on the outside world. It's possible to be a raging success on the surface and feel completely dissatisfied with life. But it's also possible to have nothing in the material world and become completely satisfied with the life. Philosophers and psychologists, spiritual gurus, and those guys when we attend dinner parties, the wedding parties and everything, they ever give their views on what gives us satisfaction in life. But the reality is that life needs satisfaction. Is a cake you need to bake yourself. Life satisfaction is a cake you need to bake yourself, because we are all unique. And it's all about our own minds. We know our needs. We know everything for ourselves. And it's from there you can really grow. You can really be really content. You can be satisfied and everything, because it's your mind. Nobody can feed something in your mind, but people just come to add or to color it and the rest. So there is no cake out there with the perfect or perfections and a list of ingredients that is going to satisfy everyone's taste buds. So you need to go on your own self-discovery journey to find what brings you to a satisfaction and a contentment. So it's always like this. When the cake is pressed there, I mean that happiness of yours, which is the cake now, people that will be coming and ask you like, where did you find this? Where did you get this? And you'll be like, I have been searching for it everywhere. The response comes like, I made it myself. It's not something, happiness is not something you can go and search it from someone. It is something you make it yourself. And nobody can search his or happiness outside oneself. No job, no marriage, no whatever can give you happiness as they're full of satisfaction. But it's you yourself to be happy with the marriage. It's you yourself to be happy with the job. It's you yourself to be happy with your life, the challenges and everything. Because it's you to make that place better. It's you to make everything. How do you perceive things? And how do you go through everything? So when you say, I found my list of ingredients through a combination of reading books or experiencing through learning, maybe praying, sharing with adults, sharing with every good person here you can mention here on earth, or something of that kind. It's a reflection of a long period of time in silence, traveling and speaking to a wide range of people, from teenage to all those people, the old monks, and people who are married, people who are not married, people, whatever group of people who have been satisfied in life. So while no list can ever capture every aspect of life satisfaction, we understand there are some few powerful ingredients that may have an additional transformation to satisfaction, searching of one's life, and it may help in the journey of pursuing happiness in your life. The first thing is understanding the meaning. The most or important thing, as we said earlier, is the meaning. We know Carl Jung. This Carl Jung, he was one of the Swiss psychiatrists who founded analytical psychology. And he was one of the guys who influenced a lot of psychology in the field of psychiatry, anthropology, archaeology, literature, philosophy, and religious studies from Swiss. He said, and of course I think this matters, that the list of things with a meaning is worth more in life than the greatest of things without it. What things do you think have meaning in your life today? Is it a good job? Is it what? I was talking to one of my friends just some few days, and this person told me, for me, I asked her a question. Of course, it's a lady. I asked her, hey, what is your future plan? And this lady told me, because I asked her, do you want to become a CEO? Do you want to become a director for a certain company? Or do you want to be the boss in one of the government departments and stuff? Then she said, I think in the future I would wish to become all those. But my dream is to become a wife, and my dream is to become a mother. Just as the way my father used to call my mother. When he comes from job, he would just come in and say, oh, my mom, how are you? It's like it's a greatest thing for me to be the mother to my husband, to be the mother to my children, cook for my husband, wash clothes for my husband, despite all those other things. But what has a meaning for me is to become a mother and a wife. What does you take as something meaningful for your own life? We say a lack of meaning in life can bring great dissatisfaction. As I have personally experienced, for almost many years of my struggle with a deep, hollowing feeling of meaninglessness. On the surface, I would keep myself busy with chasing after goals and achievements, but deep down, I had a sense that something was always missing. There was no meaning, no clear sense of purpose in my life. I was reading a certain book which is called The Monk Who Sold His Ferrari. It's a book by Robin Sharma, and of course I'm still reading it. I have it on my hand. He's talking about this great man who was one of the greatest litigants in America, and he had all the power to win all the cases. He was called the mother of all the father of all the murder cases. He could win any murder case, but the struggles he had and everything he was doing towards reaching this goal, it was a total loss of meaning of his life. He was not having good time with the family. He was not having good time for himself. He would just have late lunches, late dinners, later sleep, early waking up, reading all the books about laws and everything. But then there was no meaning, no clear sense of purpose in his life. And one day he got a heart attack in the court, and he was told there are two things. Either you proceed with the cases in the court, or you die. Rather, you leave these things. It was not easy for him because the goal for him was to win the cases. And he bought the Ferrari, he had all the good things, he had a private jet, good house, all the money a person would wish to have. But the meaning of life was not really realized. So if you get time, read this book, The Monk Who Sold His Ferrari, and you'll realize what I'm trying to say here. And you'll see most of us trying to pursue these things in the very same sense of life. Though we're not saying you should not work hard to realize your dream, but then you should be very focused. in a sense that you don't lose the meaning of life. It's never easy to get a sense of purpose from what one is doing. You may keep on thinking to yourself that there's no been more life than building a colorful spreadsheets and powerful points of slides, and that's include like a house and all of that. It's very important that it's not just a uncommon scenario in your society that most of us, especially young generation, doing a job that pays the bills but provides no sense of meaning and purpose. It's important to understand whatever we are doing should have that sense of rewarding in our own life. As Anais Nin said, that there's not one big cosmic meaning for all. There's only the meaning we each give to our life. An individual meaning, an individual plot, like an individual novel, a book for each person. So, deriving a sense of meaning doesn't just come from work. We find meaning in relationships with loved ones, through parenthood, spirituality, contributions to others, or simply through the fact that we are alive. Ultimately, each one of us is responsible for creating our own meaning. So the beauty of going on with this journey is that we are all in together. Not a single human came into being because of their own choosing. No one asked you if you would like to be born or not. Your parents brought you into the world, and your parents were the result of their parents, and so on. So in a strange cosmic sense, every human alive today in the same boat. So we all ask ourselves, why am I here? What's the meaning of my life? So most of us, we ask ourselves, why am I here? Then here is when we come and tell you that it's important to be grateful. Gratitude is another ingredient, important one for a happy life. Often people think that being grateful or gratitude is an aspect or an ingredient of life to the people who they are just wishful thinkers who couldn't get what they wanted in life. So they were forced with the situation to be thankful for what they do have. It's a thought, something intelligent, driven people don't need gratitude, or they don't need to be grateful. They just need to work hard and reach their dreams. This wasn't until when people understood that if you cannot be grateful for what you have now, you will be never be a happy person. I repeat, if you can't be grateful for what you have now, you'll be never be a happy person. It's something which should come like a shocking to many of us. That how can I be grateful with the awful situations I have now, a downfall moment or a painful moment and something? But the question is, where or why are you there? The fact that you are still living and existing despite those challenges and everything is a moment that you should take and consider that your life has given you a chance to look or climb for another mountain. It's like it's like to say that if you have climbed this mountain, that means your life should end there. If life ends just on one of the tops of the mountains, trust me, life will lose the meaning. You should bear and understand that life has ups and downs, and you should be grateful with every moment comes in and gets out of your life. It's like sometimes what we have looks very small or very, very, very minor, and we need some major deals and major things, and we need to start jumping or living where we are and find ourselves on top of other peaks. It's a process. You must go down, and then you have to start climbing up. So it's how things are. You're falling sick, that means you are down the hill. You should now go through the process, get healed, and reach to the top of the mountain. In the process, anything can happen. In the process, things can be different, but endure the process. And you realize in the end, you have really saved yourself and rehabilitate yourself from what is there without losing hope or denying the fact that, why am I sick? Why should I be sick? All that may bring to you a lot of things which are not positive and all that. So it's like when you're making decision to practice a gratitude in your daily life, it felt like it's a new world, hard, and new keys need to be used to open up another door for you. But it could suddenly sometimes be or see things that were invisible to be very, very, very possible before your face. So the more you practice gratitude, the more you will start observing the beauty and blessing everybody can do in life, and the more you feel content in your own life. So you will start at least writing some few things which you are grateful for every morning when you wake up. Then simple task made a significant difference to how one feels about the life. Then that will find your mind was or will be constantly looking for things to be grateful for, so you could write them in the paper in the following day. As the day ends, you sit down and you observe yourself and say, today I've done this and this and things have just worked out well. Thanks God for this, do better. Even if you've just cleaned your room, it's very smart, you've arranged your books, you've arranged your library, you have arranged every good thing. Just small things. You have made your bed better the way you wanted. You have just bought new bed sheets. You have, like, seriously, those small things which gives you joy. They are so profounding in happiness. So gratitude is slowly can become part of your mindset, and sometimes you might not even realize that what you're doing is through your unconscious, but it becomes like a system or style. You sit down and you can focus the general life with a very simple kind of joy, with a very kind of a lens which is focusing everything, even if it is small, but with a very magnificent picture or style. So without gratitude, it's difficult to imagine a life of satisfaction. No matter where a life is, we find that we always desire for something more, and that's nature. But gratitude involves taking a step back in our lives and acknowledging and being thankful for all the people and situations that we are blessed with. Being ungrateful is easy. Taking or assuming that we are alive is just easy. But how much money is our current level of health worth do we have? It's like if the richest people or person on planet offered to buy your arms from you, how much would you feel like you can sell it out with? For what about your eyesight or your sense of smell. Those things, imagine, you can sense a good smell, bad one. You can differentiate things with your sight. This is good, this is right, this is wrong. You can hear, you can walk, you can have hands, you can have life. Is that not enough for you to be grateful? You see, if you get time and ask these rich people, sometimes they'll tell you, it's not about being rich. That's why we are happy. It's about achieving some of the very small things. I have a friend of mine. Of course, I remember I was visiting this person. Trust me, he's rich. He has a lot. He has everything. But this person, he's diabetic. And he does not take sugar, you can imagine. He has money. He can buy any sugar from anywhere on earth. But he does not take sugar. He eats and he drinks a lot of bittery things every day, though he's very rich. Assume about yourself today, you got no money, you got nothing, but you're free, you can eat anything. Can't you be grateful? So we don't need to subject our lives into material things. And we even see most of the young people fails in schools because when they go to school, they start making their lives difficult simply because they want to have some kind of status of which everybody would appreciate them. And instead of concentrating on what took them to school, with the little money they get from their parents or the family, they start looking for other means to increase their status there. And it's being ungrateful to the moment. You went to school for studies. You did not go there for show off and stuff. It's very important to be grateful to the moments we are so that we can use them appropriately. Where you are, the work you have, the life you have, the mission you have, education and everything you have, be grateful, thank God, love it, because there is nothing in life which will give you peace than being grateful with whatever you are. It is said that no amount of money could buy your peace. No amount of money could buy your hand. No amount of money could buy the bit of you to smell. Can't you be grateful to that? It's something you have. Nobody else can take it from you. So it's like it's easily taken as something easy and something just taken like it's simple and can be judged just for granted. What's right under our nose? Stick your nose to where it belongs. It's very, very important. Maybe the last but not least is the third ingredient, which is the presence. That according to Richard Branson, who said that it's the moment that I stopped just to be rather than do that have given me true happiness. It's the moment that I stopped just to be rather to do that have given me true happiness. Are you still in the moment of speculations about your life, or you're in the moment of living your life? Think about the voice inside your head who is reacting to the words you are reading or thinking at this moment. Like you are speaking to the narrator in your head. How does it work? What a narrator you are talking about? Is that exactly what the narrator is in your head would say? You see, like what you are thinking and what you are talking, they might be two different things. Psychologists have determined or estimated that we have over 20 to 50,000 thoughts every single day. But we don't worry of becoming crazy, or maybe we are all already crazy. And it is said in over 2,500 years, the Buddha called this phenomenon monk mind. And it's like this monk, they observed that human mind is filled with the drunken monkeys jumping around, screeching, chattering, and clamoring for your attention. You just have to sit silent for a few seconds so you can hear and sort them out. This reminds me when I was reading also this book of The Monk Who Sold His Ferrari, where it's written on page 55. It is stating that most importantly, you will also observe a sense of joyfulness entering your life, along with an ability to appreciate the many gifts that surround you each day, no matter how busy you get and how many challenges you might face. Return to the heart of the rose. It is your oasis. It's your silent retreat. It's your island of peace. Never forget that there is a power in silence and stillness. Presence. It's very important to observe that there are a lot of thoughts coming in and out in our minds which takes us to wrong, strange, bad, and poor directions. But then if we take some few seconds and meditate, understand, we will realize we are able to sort and put everything in good order. Remember that having many thoughts is not a bad idea, or we should have less thoughts. But our huge brains are the primary reasons we are alive today. Think about the past. It gives us immeasurable opportunities for learning and growth, and thinking about the future allows us to imagine and create our desires and the visions. So the problems arises when we are in overthinking situation, worst unaware that we are thinking and have let the monkeys go wild in our minds instead of sorting issues. It is said that when our mind wanders, we lose touch with the present moment and go into endless thoughts loops about the past or future. We lose direction. We are not in today, we are not in the tomorrow, we are not in the present. So this is the problem, and this is what's causing the problem in our lives. So Eckhart Tolle said that uneasy anxiety, tension, stress, and worry, all forms of fear, are caused by too much future and too enough presence. Guilt, regret, resentment, and grievances, sadness, bitterness, and all forms of non-forgiveness are caused by too much parity and not enough presence. That is according to Eckhart Tolle. These psychologists, they're saying empirically we spend at least 50% of our working time every day that our mind is just wandering and not focused on the present moment. And this, I can say even myself, I can experience this, I can just see this. Sometimes I want to sit down, do this show, and I may even take 2 hours just wondering of what I want to say, I want to present, I want to talk and all that. It has been a challenge. And sometimes I even delay to present the show simply because I've just been, not that I have nothing to present, I have a lot, but I keep on thinking like I should do this, in this way, in which way, a lot of things coming. Instead of getting focused, people fail their exams because instead of writing what it's right to be written in the paper, they keep on thinking of multiple thoughts about the same questions and they get confused. When they come to write, everything is done. Time is up already. So we should find that mind, as it is taken into wanders or wandering, we loses the present focus. Mind wandering is the present focus losing. It's very, very, very important. So we are advised that Buddha, like any other community, we may just say, for them have a way to calm the monkeys in the minds and gain more presence and satisfaction in life. There are now hundreds of studies or whatever you can just find here on earth providing the physical and mental benefits for meditation and other mindfulness practices. We have a lot of things to be done to realize how to be good meditators, mindfulness, and people practices good principles of life, listening, understanding, and judging. Like I see, for for the Catholics or for the youth, they are called for whatever they are doing. First, they must see. That means not only with the eyes, when if you are blind, you should be able to see with your inner senses. That means concentrate from inside and see something. Then you judge, you should analyze. A judgment always has a title, and you should say, this is something. Then I, as a judge, this person, that means you put yourself into this as the person responsible to that. Then you start giving out the sentence or the judgment which has reasons as to why you are doing this, with the balance of saying, why should I do this and not this? Then it's out of that judgment, it allows you to act or omit from a certain act. So according to Buddha, they say, if you are quiet enough, you will hear the flow of the universe. You'll feel its rhythm. Go with this flow. Happiness lies ahead of you. That is the meaning of searching for happiness. Now, ultimately, each one of us is responsible for making our own happiness cake. One filled with the ingredients, as we said earlier. First, you need to always be with the first meaning of everything, bring gratitude, and living the present or the presence moment. The last thing is to remember that thousands of candles can be lit as from a single candle, and the life of the candle will not be shortened. Happiness never decreases by being shared. I repeat again, thousands of candles can be lit from a single candle, and the life of that candle will never be shortened. Happiness is never decreased by being shared. That is the most important thing, and the last message from WCAT Voice of Africa. And I am calling you to understand, if you want to be happy, you must understand to make your own cake. You must understand how to make your own happiness, which is the cake with the ingredients, the right one as we said, meaning, gratitude, and presence. Wishing you a lovely Sunday. I am Carmen Emmanuel Peter. Enjoy the moment.
Hello, God's beloved. I'm Annabelle Mosley, author, professor of theology, and host of Then Sings My Soul and Destination Sainthood on WCAT Radio. I invite you to listen in and find inspiration along this sacred journey we're traveling together to make our lives a masterpiece and, with God's grace, become saints. Join me, Annabelle Mosley, for Then Sings My Soul and Destination Sainthood on WCAT Radio. God bless you. Remember, you're never alone. God is always with you.
Thank you for listening to a production of WCAT Radio. Please join us in our mission of evangelization. And don't forget, love lifts up when knowledge takes flight.